Hi, everyone. Hi, Linda. We're back to discuss everything that's going on in the world, which all of a sudden in the last few days has really picked up,
Oh my
with
goodness.
points and
So
counterpoints.
can we start off first of all, just give us a briefing if you see any changes in his chart, Orange Crush? Because he
Well,
made such a fool of himself at that UN and saying you're all, what did he say? You're all going to hell?
the countries, yeah, he said all your countries are going to hell.
And talking, and everybody says, I'd like to know who everybody is. I should get the Nobel Peace Prize, and he's crazy.
All the wars that he ended the war between, he said, Azerbaijan and Albania. He really meant to say Azerbaijan and Armenia because Albania is really far away from Azerbaijan. But he mangles it all the time. And yeah, I mean, it's just a huge embarrassment. But as far as this chart, it's because he's in a zone. You can point to sometimes a very narrow period when you'd say, well, right here, right now, it's because of something. That can't happen. Like that happened in the Charlie Kirk, incident. Mars was really in there tight, which is what you would expect in a violent encounter. But with this, I had said, I think last month or even before that, he was entering a zone September 1st, and he's in it. This guy now is just bumbling and stumbling and running into things because the very same planets that downtrend your health, they downtrend everything. From where they're sitting there, they bring in forced adjustments, things that don't work out, mismessaging. By the way, if a person is downtrending in their health, that explains why he seems really low energy. He mangles all his messages. The thing that he did with Tylenol and with the vaccines. I mean, it's farcical. It's embarrassing. It's brutal. So that's why. Yeah.
But he's got those whack jobs working with him.
Well, I know, but it's only the best people. So like,
But
I
tell
mean,
me what you got on his chart that just basically he's in a bad place right now.
what I got, what I got is that his aspects starting September 1st, they're just rough. They health pressure, and as we go toward November, he may get some wins, probably with the Supreme Court, because they give him a lot more than they should.
Yeah.
But overall, more and more legal setbacks, and more of what just happened. For example, he thought he was dealing Jimmy Kimmel terrible cards, and it turned out it was the other way around. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel couldn't have said it better yesterday. He couldn't have seemed more human, more normal, in contrast to the president, who is extremely abnormal. And as Kimmel said, what he succeeded in doing is driving more people to watch his show. You know?
Oh, I know. He went through the
Yeah,
roof with the numbers.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so I mean, in the astrology, when you're in zones, there are periods that you're in. When they're difficult, it's like being in a minefield. You have to be careful not to step in it. And he is great at stepping on things. He just has nothing beyond this. His narcissism and his ego is constantly guiding. It's like his compass. So then you make more mistakes doing that, right? And
What the countries have to say about him after that show he put on at the UN? Did you
oh,
hear the other countries are saying this man is out of his mind?
oh no, for sure. I mean, and the problem is that they can't really publicly, all of them, say, look, this man is a lunatic, because if they say that, he'll take revenge, because the US has a lot of economic power. So basically, they're holding their fire in the background. But every time I talk to someone involved in European commerce, and I know quite a few people, they tell me that Europe is pulling away from the US. They're not buying US products. They're basically really angry with the way things are going, whether it's some cases anecdotal, and in some cases it's definite business data. They're pulling away. So he's telling everyone the opposite of what is actually happening about how the US is the hottest economy. It's not true. And we should see that now going into the winter and going into next spring. Things getting more and more complicated, which means on top of all the fronts that he keeps opening, more fronts are going to appear, because then he's going to have to answer why, you say that there's no inflation. Of course there's inflation. We can see it. The prices haven't gone down. They've gone up,
Yeah,
and they're going to go up even more because of the tariffs, you know?
I
Yeah,
know.
plain and simple.
What about that border Caesar? Did you look up his name or his birthday? The guy that took the $50,000 bribe?
Yeah, I looked it up. It's a chart with no time. It's just a birthday. But yeah, there's pressure there. I don't know that it's enough pressure though for him to lose his job or anything like
Oh
that.
no,
That would
he
be
won't lose his job, but I see
no.
him walking the plank down the road here.
Oh yeah, no. The curious thing you see with which encourages me from the perspective of looking forward and wondering what's going to happen is he's got all these people around him. Like I can count. I'm getting close to 10. I was looking at the list today. There's a lot. Like Gabbard, Patel, Hegseth, this guy. All kinds of people. Where you see the Saturn moving toward them as we go into next year, which is the worst possible time because that's the election year, right? So
Oh yeah.
you add that to his. People like this, the key feature is they're very undisciplined, and the last thing you want to be on Saturn transits is undisciplined because it'll punish you. It just brings up all your problems, and they're often impossible to solve. So yeah,
Yeah, because he wanted to be the one to announce that Tylenol affects, this is the reason for autism. Autism was found in 1940 something, and Tylenol wasn't made till 1950 something. But logic behooves them. But then they were recommending some over-the-counter thing that Dr. Oz sells.
someone said on my channel, I didn't research this though, but someone said that Dr. Oz uh, would want Tylenol to go down and his product to be bought. Yeah, I mean that's another thing that these people, it's like Grifter Inc., Grifter Incorporated. All of them are on the take. You know, they're running side businesses and scams basically, and to profit from these things, right? So yeah, it doesn't surprise me one bit. I
Yeah.
mean, there you are, Trump surrounded by Dr. Oz and RFK. That's where we are. That's the health of the country at the moment.
Jesus, that's terrible.
I know.
Now, they're not saying you can't get vaccines, but they're recommending certain ages don't get vaccines, correct?
Yeah, they're making it harder. Like you have to talk to your doctor, or they create different kinds of barriers. But the hardest thing is that I think anyway that a lot of the people that follow this guy will follow what he says. People. I remember that back in the day when he talked about drinking a disinfectant for COVID, and people
Oh,
actually did
God.
it. There were people that they had to call the ER because they were swallowing bleach. I mean, poison.
Oh, my
So
God, it was terrible.
yeah, so leaders have to be responsible, and he's not. I mean, he just isn't. And
But we start getting people getting polio and stuff, then maybe the country will listen, you think?
well, that's the scary part. In that RFK is one of the ones. I didn't mention him on the list, but he's definitely there. This thing that when we go toward mid-year next year, there's a Saturn station right in the middle of Aries. That's a direct hit on all these guys. And for someone like RFK, he's doing these careless things, and that's when it's likely to show up. Although it could show up earlier, because what I notice in astrology is if you see the peak, you often get the building energy moving up to it, and then it's just really super elevated at that point. It's like same with eclipses. A lot of times the thing starts happening quite a bit before the eclipse, and those
And then,
stations are the
yeah,
same.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that, yeah, but that's the thing. In a way, how do you expect to peel away, I don't know, 10% of the MAGA or some number that makes it impossible for them to win anything unless things like this happen? Because these people don't seem to understand, that when you want to put a person in charge of something, it's good to have experts. They're relying on this idea. Oh no, if you have any expertise, no, we're not going to hire you. Well, that's kind of nuts. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's just not a good idea,
Right.
because he's not trained. I mean, this guy Cassidy, the senator, now he's realizing what he did. He should never have approved RFK in the first place because
Oh,
RFK
I
lied.
know.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
RFK sat up there and lied to him.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is the thing that, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. That, in a way, I don't even know how it's allowed in government for judges and these people like RFK. They go up, they lie they just blatantly lie, and then they do the opposite. It's
Including the Supreme Court.
yeah, the Supreme Court, same thing. Oh, it's settled. Oh, we're not going to do anything. Then they just go ahead and they do
Turned
it.
around and changed it.
Yeah.
But it's okay for them to do it. So in the meantime, they're trying to get Comey on lying to Congress. I think this is my feeling. I don't know if you looked at Comey's chart, you used to back in the day. I think, not that I'm a fan of Comey, but I think at the end of the day, it's not going to work out for the Trump administration.
Well, I mean, look, okay, just ask yourself, right? Comey is, I haven't looked at his chart in a while. I'll definitely take a look. But Comey, by all accounts, was considered what? He was considered like a Boy Scout, like excessively, right? Excessively rule following and so forth. So now you're trying to convince me that this guy would do something on his taxes or whatever. Total time waster. They're probably going to make him spend money. That's true. And I wish they would change the laws.
They already got the IRS on him.
Well, that's my point. They did it before, but I wish that the laws were passed that punish people for frivolous lawsuits where, they shouldn't be making you spend your money just to bleed you dry. But in the end, they get nothing. They get nothing because people haven't done anything. Like he's telling Pam Bondi, you got to go prosecute my enemies. You got to go after all these people like Adam Schiff. They're guilty as hell. I don't know who did he name? Adam Schiff.
Letitia James.
Letitia James, right. Well, and the person said, I can't because I got nothing. It's embarrassing, for a lawyer to go into court. And
they can get their law license taken from them.
Well, they might not even get a grand jury to agree to charge because they won't find anything. So that's why these people, okay, and that's one thing. The other thing is when you put that in writing online like that, the defense lawyer will show it to the judge and say, Your Honor, look at this. And the judge will say, case dismissed.
Yeah,
you can't even go forward.
Malicious prosecution.
Yeah, it's
and
obvious.
He has no right to tell the DOJ what to do. They aren't his personal attorneys.
I call them every name in the book in a video I put up earlier today, and I'm not taking it back. This man is just dumber. Dumber and dumbest. It's incredible. The things he does. He's a bad criminal. If he's going to be a criminal, you might as well do it well. You can't even do that.
No.
So
no.
Yeah,
they try to go to the grand jury about that guy that hit someone with a sandwich, and they just threw it out.
I know.
They wanted the death penalty.
The grand jury probably said, "No, come on, he's got to throw at least something hard like a bottle or something. You can't have any."
I was shocked he wasted a whole sandwich.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. I mean, I'm sorry, but even though it puts everyone at risk because of the things these people are managing, even so, it's probably better that they're not too smart, because if they were, then we'd really have a
it'd be terrible. Have you taken a look-see at Putin lately?
I have not, but his chart is memorized in my mind. Putin, what I've said for years now, and I've been saying it even more recently, is because now I see where the war is and everything. Zelensky just has to wait till next year. He just has to wait for that Saturn to move in. It's plain and simple. What? Because Putin has got all those planets in Libra. They get opposed. Same with Netanyahu. I mean, they're carrying on in the way they're doing it now. You just need a planet to show you the stop sign, and that's it.
I just saw on some social media thing that about 400 Israeli soldiers said they will not rejoin. Netanyahu wants them to rejoin because they don't believe in the war he's doing. They don't like what he's doing to the Palestinians.
It's a shameful approach, and you gotta wait. You gotta wait for the planets to move in. I mean, in the meantime, I know time is passing. Horrible things are happening.
Whenabouts next year is that Saturn coming in?
It starts to build from February forward into mid-year. Like once you get into the spring, late spring, there's no turning back, because that thing goes deep into the sign, and then backtracks a bit at the end, comes back over it again. It's even worse in 27, into the spring of 28. It's not good. And Netanyahu, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's an election that is by law has to happen in October of 2020. That's not good.
2020.
2026, sorry.
Okay.
2026. Yeah.
Oh, he's gone.
So then you're going in.
Oh, he'll try to pull something, and maybe that's when I see him being kidnapped. Someone will take him out.
Possibly. I mean, that's the thing. The astrology, sometimes you can tell what the hit is, but you just know there's a hit there. There's a problem. And the easiest way to interpret it is person is in office, they're trying to get a result. It's like a yes or a no. What does it look like, right?
Yeah.
In 2026.
Jesus. So any other aspects you've been flagging, you've been looking at that you thought, oh, that's interesting?
Well, I've been primarily focusing, of course, on the president's chart and all the people around him.
Did you know Jimmy Kimmel was going to come out okay?
Well, okay, that's a funny one. There, I got to take the hit because when it happened, I can't believe I did this. Sometimes I'll look at a chart and like a really obvious thing, and I forget it. Okay, like what I did is I opened the chart and I focused on, okay, why did he get this downturn, this problem? Because he was basically removed. And I saw immediately there's a Pluto square. That's the kind of thing that can happen, okay? Then I saw next year he's on a Saturn return. So I thought, okay, that's it. So that's what I said. And right there, I mean, Jupiter's trining his sun. So at minimum, I should have said, wow, like if he doesn't come back, this can only benefit him in some major way.
Yeah.
Well, right, but he came back. Now, the thing with Jimmy Kimmel, though, now that I'm taking all of it into account, he does have, because I did say next year is a pivot year where he's turning in a different direction. So I suspect that cycle that we go into next year from the late winter and into summer, fall, winter, either things get rougher in his show or he himself starts to do something differently because he's in a zone where major moves are made, in a new direction.
Yeah, well, there's inside information that some of the big comedians are talking about gathering together. Who else just got nixed, but he has a year to do out his contract?
Colbert.
Yeah, so they're thinking about doing a Netflix deal. And, Jon Stewart's involved.
Could be. Yeah, it could be. The Saturn return, which is every 30 years, is a really important time when people reach this end of a chapter, a big chapter that's lasted many years, and then they reorganize their life moving forward for the next many years. And so then that's what he's in. And given that, for example, for him, the Jupiter cycle right now is much better. Next year isn't quite as good. So he may run into problems with the show, or of his own accord, he'll start saying, I want to do this other thing.
Yeah. Well, what's his face? Well, Copperhead said, oh, yeah, well, see, I got CBS to pay me $60 million. So I think I'm going to go back and get some more money.
Well, that's how he does it. But, a lot of it is because
they got to stop paying him because he'll just keep asking for more. He thinks it's funny.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that he does it, though. The main reason he gets results from those companies is that he does hold the power to prevent their mergers and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's why they go, okay, whatever, pay him a few million because, we're trying to get a $6 billion deal done or something. It's a drop in the bucket. Right. But
Jimmy
eventually,
Kimmel. Yeah.
Yeah, no, eventually it won't work. Yeah, no, I mean, and this is an example, but why? Because Disney was losing a ton of money because people stopped, they shut down their subscriptions. So
$4 billion.
Exactly.
All the actors said they wouldn't work for them anymore. Marvel Studios moved out of Georgia and went to Germany.
Yeah, no, 100%. Look, this is a great example of people power. If people seriously take action, it's the same. I know that some people go, oh, the elections, he's going to rig them. He's going to try. He's going to try all kinds of things. But that's where we have to trust in people like Mark Elias and other lawyers. They're defending our interests. there are lots of people in the Democratic Party that are very serious and very competent
And good.
looking at these things to make sure that they don't get too much of an advantage. And then people just have to stay focused and show up and vote. That's it. You know, what kills the Democratic Party so often is that people just, they don't vote. They don't show up. They don't think it's
Yeah.
important, or they fall asleep, you know, like they think, whatever, it's Biden's fault because the economy wasn't good. Really? It's worse now. You know, I could have told you this, you know?
Yeah.
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 So,
But he lost, Disney was lose close to $4 billion, and everybody was checking out. Famous people were signing petitions, and it was enough heat. I don't care if that contract was $6 billion. They were losing the people, and like you said, that must have made Jimmy Kimmel feel good.
oh, well, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and that's the thing. That's the thing about his chart right now is that he's in a feel good period, which is a bit counter to what happened, right? But I mean, he did seem in his monologue, I think he was pretty upset. He was even weeping a little bit at the thought of what had happened and so forth.
He was
So
so shook up. Yeah.
like it wasn't all roses, but overall, yeah, no, I mean, my mistake on that one because I should have pointed out this at minimum is a really good move for him. I just didn't think that he was going to come back in 4 or 5 days. But I guess, you know, I should have anticipated, you know, people power going in there. I just didn't know though. See, you have to know the data really well. If I had known, okay, how many might quit these subscriptions and what might that mean? I wasn't aware that it could be in the billions, but it is, you know,
I quit mine.
yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's why he said, remember at the end, he said the message that he had and he pulled that out and he said, to restore your Disney subscription.
And they were just up in the rates too. Good luck with that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know. It's
And some guy showed a film of Disney World, and it was like the emptiest he's ever seen it.
you
They
know,
just charge too much. It's very hard to take a family to Disneyland nowadays.
it's a fascinating thing now that you bring Disney up because um, charts can be so interesting. You know, if you find them or if you dig them up. So it turns out one of my sisters sent me this. She dug up the 1923 foundation of Disney. There's a chart, like basically for noon on that day, which is kind of the way they're always done when, unless you know specifically someone signed the paper at whatever, at 10 a.m. or whatever time it was. But even without any time of that day, doesn't matter because the day chart shows there was a massive hit from the eclipse this month, which is the kind of thing that can happen, right? If you've got a planet that activates it and triggers it in a big way. So then the eclipse, I mean, it's one of the ways you understand eclipses. Whenever you have an eclipse, the energy is more concentrated and you get more ups and downs. And that's what happened here. They first thought they were making a big move, then they had to backtrack. And now they're probably looking better, as a result of this, but it makes it into a turbulent period as a result. Right?
Yeah. Well, he worries about the people that work for him too, which is kind of cool.
Who are you talking about?
Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, right. Because they were going to
Trump
lose.
Could care less. He could care less if he was destroying people's lives. Could care less.
Yeah, and when I'm looking at the Disney chart, October 16th, 1923, that chart, there's more than that. There's other pressure. There's more pressure still next year. So this isn't over yet. They've got a ways to go to stabilize this thing and figure out what they're going to do, because I think it's going to
They were so good at fighting DeSatan. Remember, they really gave a heave-ho to DeSatan.
Yeah. Well, but in this case, they thought they were making the right move, and it wasn't. It was the wrong move. And then
I think they were all shocked that Jimmy Kimmel was so beloved. I don't think he probably carried 1 million people that watched it, and they said, "Yeah, we can live with that." And then when everybody was in an uproar, I think it surprised them.
Yeah, well, maybe they should have just looked, because if you look at, of course, he's been around longer. So that, to be fair, I'm not sure how long he's had a YouTube channel, but he's got more than 20 million subscribers, which is a lot. Because Kimmel, yeah, it's a lot of subscribers. So they should have suspected, and you can see how many are watching at night. I almost never watch the entire show. I watch the monologue, basically. Same with Colbert.
Yeah, me too.
Right. So they could have looked at that and realized, this could go south. We have to be careful because then they have Hulu and Disney, and I think one other thing. There were multiple things affected that people.
Paramount.
Is Paramount involved?
Mhm.
I know that ABC is part of this too. Anyways, they obviously didn't look at the numbers properly, and so they had to
Yeah.
backtrack, right? But they didn't know too if maybe a few 100,000 people, or whatever, some number that didn't affect the bottom line as much, maybe they wouldn't have
Yeah.
worried, but it got pretty
Well,
bad.
they were more worried about Trump pulling their merger.
Yeah, but I'm not even clear. I looked at that merger thing, and it didn't look as clear to me as some others where it looked a little more optional. I got to study it a little bit more, and that might be part of the reason too that they don't really care. I think, oh, I know what it was. Weren't they trying to? The speculation was that they were trying to get the FCC to condone more than 39% something, like to actually break the rules in their favor, which of course someone like Trump would do. But maybe they thought better of it and they decided, no, we don't want to do this because it's too charged. Or I don't know. It'll
All
come
the
out.
crooked stuff they do now when the new administration comes in, including that Liberace style White House, it's all going to be ripped down. All of it.
Yeah. Well, and don't forget that he got presidential immunity, but just because you got presidential immunity for official acts, if you do things that are not official acts that look blatantly unofficial, you can get in trouble.
Yeah,
And
making money and putting it in your own pocket.
right, or the people around you who, they have to be careful. Although I suppose he could pardon all of them before he leaves, but you
He
know how
might
that
do
works,
that.
right?
But I don't think he's going to stay long enough. I think something's going to happen before. That's always
Well,
been my hit.
yeah, well, he's definitely in pretty extreme danger right now. It's not a
Really?
safe time. Oh yeah, no, it's not cool. This is not cool. And you can see he's not. Every time I turn around, someone is saying, "This guy's not looking well. What's going on here?"
Well, his mind is gone too.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, for sure, for sure. But we saw the ankles, and he was away for a week at one point. And then in between, he's eating big steaks with Diet Coke, and I mean, like he's just a model of healthy behavior. So there's all that to consider as well, right? You
Right,
know.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I had a show with John Benny, which I hope you all will watch. And he's been talking to the ETs and to the
Mhm.
trees. And I believe in that because I know the trees talk to me. And he was saying that he could feel very strongly. I was very surprised because he never really does that kind of prediction. But he got a strong hit about an aneurysm with Trump, which makes total sense.
Oh yeah, no, that for sure. Yeah.
He's got that beet red face, like he's ready to explode.
Well, and aneurysms are a direct line to just blood flow,
Mm.
and that's what he's already showing. So it means that if your blood is pooling in your legs, it means the pipes aren't working, so that means somewhere, yeah, if something gets a little bit stuck, you'll get an aneurysm. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. And if it's in your
So,
brain,
what do you think about that disaster meeting the king?
yeah,
Did you see King Charles laughing while he was giving his speech?
I did. Although remember that all the people there, they're holding their fire because the whole reason they were giving him compliments and giving them a second visit and
And
blah,
giving
blah,
him a
blah,
ride in the carriage?
carriage is because they want to get better tariff rates. They don't want to be ruining their own economy. They're basically realizing we have a fool for a president. Let's
Well,
just,
just play him. Yeah.
let's just play him. Yeah. So
That's
that's
how
why.
Zelensky rolls, and that's a good job. I mean, some people were upset that he was being kind to Trump, but he knows what side his bread is buttered on.
No, you have to though. You have no choice. You can't irritate someone who can suddenly hurt you. You
Right.
can. That's the thing. We put this guy in a position where he can do a lot of damage to people. So,
So,
yeah.
what do you think about his comment that the Ukraine needs to hit Russia hard and go ahead and take over?
Well, I'm starting to, honestly, that's another, to me, it's another,
Fake news.
no, a bit, no, it's more evidence that I think his brain is really declining because my feeling is that Trump wants Putin to win, but he's also frustrated that Putin isn't listening to him. So he's considering all his options, and then whatever pops into his mind on that day, maybe he
They
heard it
say
from
whoever
someone,
talks to him last is the way he
he'll just
goes.
blurt it out, right? So don't be surprised if all of a sudden Ukraine reports some good news and then Trump says the opposite. So at least wait, but whenever he says anything, wait a week, 2 weeks to see if the message remains consistent, right?
Oh,
But
he was telling Ukraine he was going to give them all kinds of equipment. He never did.
never did, yeah. So I mean, uh, but you could say if this thing continues the same way, good, because it's kind of fit into this sense that I have that next year is so much better, for Zelensky than for Putin. So
Now, do you think October will be a little bit calmer?
um, I'm a little mixed on that one. I would say yes, probably because of no eclipses, and that usually helps, to because these eclipses were triggering the heck out of everything and everyone. But there is a Pluto station, and that October is Pluto station month, and that's when the remember well, that's 2022, but so it's quite a while ago. But that's when we had the October massacre in Israel, because that Pluto station created the trigger, right? So, but I would say, yeah, overall, less. It's November. November is when it really ramps up, because November, there are two big planets stationing, and then into early December, a third planet, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune. That's a lot of energy. Oh, and Uranus too. Uranus in there. So everything
Oh,
is stationing. When that
Uranus can be
happens,
surprises.
surprises, shocks, and it's also that's I think you and I were talking about this, how because you said something about you talked to this person recently that told you that there was an expectation of a big shock, a big awakening sometime in the early part of next year, right?
Yeah, that was John. He said that the Gaia or whatever, he talks to, I don't know what Gaia is, but he's talked to Gaia and to this ET, and they said, come springtime, a huge awakening. Things will not be the same for many people, but
Well,
it's a good awakening.
well, that's good. Gaia is Earth. Gaia is the Earth
Oh,
consciousness. Yeah.
okay, thank you.
So, but yeah, see the zone between now November and May. So that's a good seven
Yeah,
months. That's
yeah,
that zone. Like Uranus goes in there, backtracks. It'll station in February. That's the peak, and often things happen at the peak, but they might happen at any point in there. Uranus is shock, awakening, unexpected energy. And yeah, exactly. Those keywords match. They match 100%. And what I notice is that they implicate Trump's chart, they implicate JD Vance's chart, and they implicate the American chart. So, because those are the late Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpio. That
yeah.
quadruplicity is what the Uranus is hitting. And yeah,
And
that's what we
where's Mars at this time?
right now. Mars just entered Scorpio. Before it was in
Oh,
Libra. Libra, when it was in Libra, especially near the end there, it caught a section of his chart, like post the Charlie Kirk assassination. So that's when he became really aggressive and he got in trouble. Like some of this thing that he did, inappropriate posting and things like that, happened because of the Mars energy. Now it's in Scorpio, which is different. I think Libra would have been harder overall, because Libra is at odds with the American planets too.
oh, okay.
Scorpio,
Scorpio's a little better.
Scorpio's a little better, yeah, yeah.
Well,
But I mean,
as long as you're loyal, Scorpio's got your back.
yeah, no, Scorpio. Well, yeah, I mean, don't overplay it, because Scorpio can be the most vengeful sign too.
Oh, I
If
know.
if you really anger a Scorpio,
Yeah.
they'll hold that. It's like why Scorpios, like if you want an animal that is a perfect description of Scorpio, is cobras. And cobras, apparently, if you attack a cobra, it'll remember you for years. It knows exactly who you are, and if it can take revenge on you, it will.
I
So
didn't know that.
about cobras or about revenge?
No, about cobras.
Yeah, cobras are
I know they
really
say be careful about crows. Crows will never forget you.
well. A crow is another Scorpio animal. That's
Oh,
true,
you're
and so
kidding.
are hawks, crows, eagles, bears. Any reptile though is broadly speaking. But cobras are really intelligent reptiles because they like listening to music. If someone is playing music, they perk up and they tune in. So that something in the music feels nice to them, which to me is a sign of some intelligence. And then they have this thing that they tune in and they're very lively, obviously, and they know if someone has done something and they can imprint and then remember. And
Isn't that something?
yeah, it's pretty, yeah.
How do they know that scientifically?
Because these things are always being studied. I mean, the amount of the number of scientific studies and all the data that we have, if it's respected, because then when you get this tool we have in office, he'll just quote you, some study, they use 500 people to talent. Like, okay, think about it, right? And in fact, the study said this, by the way, because the study said it's only a correlation and think about how logical this is, since Tylenol is pretty much the only thing a pregnant woman can take.
Yeah.
Right? And pregnant women are going to be in pain. That's what they're going to take. So then, how do you know that that's what causes the autism? There's no way you can point to that with any certainty. You can't, because your study is immediately, damaged by the fact that they have no other options or no other, they can't use Aleve, they can't use ibuprofen and so forth, right? So that's how science works. Right, but
Tylenol does nothing for me.
But I mean, these days, I mean, go on anywhere online, use AI, whatever. You ask about cobras, ask about anything, and you'll get all kinds of information that has been researched, studied.
Yeah.
They do this, they do that, and then you can become an expert in, I mean, the strangest things. Because
isn't that so? I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So, do you have any last information, my friend?
Last information. Let's see. Well, I would say the only thing I would end with is same thing I said in the video I posted today. We gotta, everyone needs to remain relaxed and focused. Stay out of, feeling all panicky, scared because you're projecting into all kinds of things that can happen. And yes, some of them will happen, no question. But if you are as close as you can get to your calm center, you'll know what to do. You just, it's like, that's what people say. I hear my guides. They're telling me, do this.
And that this too shall pass. That this guy's he's going down for the kill.
Yeah, right. And yes, things can get extended, but the whole thing is to navigate as well as possible during the pressure. And that to me is, tops all the other advice, because otherwise you're waiting for some miracle to happen. I mean, think about it though. Even if something were to happen to him, things might be worse for a while as a result of that. You don't know. I mean, then maybe JD takes over and then he's even worse.
But he's even more, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so in other words, we got to stay the course.
This is going to pass. But then if at the voting next year, if we get all blue, then this guy's got no powers.
Well, even if we get partly blue, if you get the House only, right? That's a problem. But the Senate has started to look better because some of the current senators are leaving, which leaves an opening for the person. Yeah, exactly. So and I know that I've said this a number of times that both Schumer and Jeffries, their charts look better, much better than they did in 2024 in the 26 elections. Yeah, so that's something.
Good. Okay.
That's something to look forward to. Yeah, for sure.
All right, my friend.
While, by the way, the key one is that if he gets there, which he may not, his does not look good at all in the November 2026.
It's bad. Oh, good.
Bad, yeah. It's a Saturn like this,
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. That was fun. We'll say goodbye for now.
For now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, you guys.